Welcome back. It is January 2026, and if you've been listening to the mainstream media over the last 2 years, you might have heard that the Florida gold rush was over. They talked about a bubble, they talked about insurance crises, and they predicted a mass exodus. But here we are, and the data tells a completely different story. Florida hasn't just survived, it has evolved. In 2026, we are witnessing a dynamic stabilization. The market is no longer driven by the panic buying we saw in 2021. Instead, it's being fueled by institutional maturity, infrastructure, and a massive shift in global capital. Today, we aren't just looking at pretty houses. We are diving deep into the 5 surprising statistics that prove Florida is currently the most resilient real estate play in the United States. Why does this matter now? Because the Federal Reserve has finally pivoted, with interest rates stabilizing below 6%, unlocking a wave of sidelined buyers. But the Florida of 2026 is a different beast than the Florida of 2020. We've seen the rise of Wall Street South, the completion of major transit corridors, and a legislative overhaul that has shocked the insurance industry. By the end of this video, you will understand exactly where the smart money is moving, why the crash never happened, and how you can position yourself in this new era of Florida real estate. Whether you are a first-time homebuyer or a seasoned investor looking for yield, these 5 stats will change how you look at the Sunshine State. Stat number 1 is what I call the 838 effect. As of January 2026, Florida is still seeing an average net gain of 838 new residents every single day. Now, critics used to say, it's just retirees moving for the weather. That is a 2010 mindset. In 2026, the fastest growing demographic in Florida is the 25 to 44-year-old cohort. We are talking about young professionals, tech founders, and remote work families. Why? Because the 0% state income tax isn't just a perk anymore. In a high inflation, high cost of living era, it is a survival strategy for the middle and upper middle class. From an investment perspective, this creates an incredible floor for property values. When you add nearly 300,000 people to a state annually, you aren't just selling houses. You are fulfilling a fundamental necessity. In 2026, the inventory levels in key corridors like the I-4, connecting Tampa and Orlando, remain tight. The pace of construction, despite being at record highs, cannot keep up with this human capital inflow. If you are looking at rentals, this is your cash flow security. Vacancy rates in professionally managed B-class multifamily units are hovering below 5% statewide. We aren't seeing a bubble because this demand is structural. People aren't moving here to flip a house. They are moving here to build a life, a business, and a future. This migration is the engine that keeps the Florida real estate heart beating. This is the stat that will surprise you the most. For the last 3 years, the Florida is uninsurable narrative was the #1 deterrent for investors. But in 2026, we are seeing the results of the massive legislative reforms passed in late 2023 and 2024. Property insurance premiums in many parts of the state have dropped by an average of 11% to 14%. How did this happen? The state successfully tackled litigation abuse, which accounted for nearly 80% of the nation's homeowners' insurance lawsuits, despite Florida only having 9% of the claims. In 2026, private capital has flooded back into the market. We've seen 8 new major carriers enter the Florida market this year alone, creating competition that hasn't existed in a decade. For you as an investor, this is a game changer for your net operating income. Let's look at the math. If your annual insurance premium on a triplex drops from $8,000 to $7,000, that $1,000 goes straight to your bottom line. When we calculate your cap rate, a lower expense ratio immediately increases your property's value and your yield. In 2026, we are seeing zombie deals, properties that didn't make sense in 2024 due to high carrying costs, suddenly becoming highly profitable cash cows. The insurance crisis didn't kill Florida. It forced Florida to fix its foundation, making it a safer long-term bet for institutional investors today. Stat number 3, the return of the $10 billion global buyer. In 2024, foreign investment dipped because the US dollar was incredibly strong and global interest rates were volatile. But in 2026, The floodgates have reopened. International buyers have injected $10.4 billion into Florida real estate over the last 12 months. Who is buying? Canada remains number one. But the big surprise is the surge from Latin America, specifically Colombia, Argentina, and Mexico. Florida has solidified its position as the safe haven or the global vault. In 2026, investors aren't just looking for appreciation. They are looking for political and currency stability. One of the most critical substats here is that 66% of these international transactions in South Florida are all cash deals. Why does this matter to you? It means the Florida market is uniquely insulated from the U.S. mortgage market. When 2/3 of the buyers in a region don't need a bank, the market becomes incredibly resilient to interest rate hikes. This cash floor prevents the price crashes we see in suburban markets in the Midwest or the West Coast. In 2026, Miami and Orlando aren't just Florida cities. They are international asset classes, similar to London, Hong Kong, or New York, but with a much better tax climate and lifestyle appeal. Our fourth stat brings us to the west coast of Florida. While Miami is hitting record highs, the Gulf Coast, specifically areas like Cape Coral, North Port, and parts of Sarasota, is seeing an inventory increase of 8.9%, leading to a healthy price correction. Wait, I thought you said Florida was booming? It is, but the boom of 2026 is about strategy. For the first time in 5 years, we have a buyer's window on the Gulf Coast. Sellers who over-leveraged in 2022 are now facing a reality check, and institutional builders have a surplus of new construction homes. In 2026, the power has shifted. We are seeing seller credits becoming the norm. I'm seeing investors negotiate $20,000 or $30,000 credits at closing to buy down their mortgage interest rates. This allows you to enter the market with a payment that feels like it's from 2019, even in a 2026 economy. This correction isn't a sign of weakness. It's a sign of a healthy market. In 2021, you had to waive inspections and pay $50,000 over asking. In 2026, you can walk through a house, ask for a new roof, get a rate buy down, and buy at a 5% to 10% discount from the 2024 peak. This is where the value-add investors are making their money right now, buying the dip in high-growth suburban corridors before the next wave of migration fills them up. Finally, stat number 5, the 15% connectivity premium. In 2026, real estate value is no longer just about the beach. It's about the train. With the full expansion of the Brightline high-speed rail connecting Miami to Fort Lauderdale, West Palm Beach, Orlando, and now Tampa, we are seeing a massive surge in land value. Properties located within a 5-mile radius of a Brightline station are outperforming the general market by 15% in appreciation. We call this transit-oriented development. Florida is transforming from a car-dependent sprawl into a connected megalopolis. This has created the Wall Street South effect in West Palm Beach. Major hedge funds and financial firms have moved their headquarters next to the train stations so their executives can commute from Miami or Orlando in luxury. When you have high-income jobs moving to a specific node, the residential real estate surrounding that node becomes recession-proof. In 2026, the smart money is moving away from isolated suburbs and into connected hubs. Whether it's the massive Neo-City Tech District in Kissimmee or the Underline project in Miami, infrastructure is the new luxury. If you want to know where the most appreciation will be in 2030, look at where the tracks are being laid today. Connectivity is the ultimate hedge against market volatility. So, what is the verdict for Florida real estate in 2026? It's simple. The easy money era of flipping is gone, but the smart money era has just begun. We've looked at the 5 stats. The 838 effect, unstoppable demographic demand. The insurance miracle, reclaiming our NOI. Global capital, $10.4 billion in international safe haven money. The Gulf Coast. Correction, a rare window for buyers to gain leverage. The transit revolution, how Brightline is redrawing the map of value. My advice for 2026? Don't wait to buy real estate. Buy real estate and wait. The fundamentals of Florida, tax policy, weather, infrastructure, and migration, are stronger now than they were during the post-pandemic frenzy. We are in a mature, high-yield environment. Focus on the path of progress. Look for properties near transit hubs. Look for the buyer's window in corrected markets, and take advantage of the stabilizing insurance costs. Florida isn't just a place to vacation anymore. It is the economic powerhouse of the southern United States. If you found this deep dive helpful, I have a 2026 Florida Investors Guide linked in the description below, detailing the top 10 zip codes to watch this year. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button for weekly U.S. market updates and drop a comment below. Are you buying, selling, or waiting in 2026? I'll see you in the next one.